And we are live. Dave Kittle, Tony Maritato. Dave, the hair is on point. I love
The,
it.
the baseball locks are flowing.
There's oh yes. We've got a double header this weekend for our eighth graders. I'm like, oh, seriously, a double header? Okay.
I've had a couple
Anyway,
double headers already, and I get so sore. Like I need to work
wow.
more on recovery. And my wife jokes that my 38-year-old body does not respond to double headers as well as it used to, and
How
she's
many
right.
innings do you guys play?
If it's a double header, it's 14, so it's 7 and 7.
Wow. Okay, that's what our kids are doing, 7 and 7.
But
But
but I'm
we have.
also hitting and stealing bases, sliding head first in the second, and home plate, and sliding on the turf, getting ripped up. So yeah, playing hard. They're trying to pick me off at first. I'm diving back in on my belly.
Well, this doubleheader will be ugly because our kids have pitch counts. They can't pitch more than so many pitches per inning per game, and we only have like three pitchers on the team. So it reminded me, was it the Dodgers who put that guy in who was clearly not a pitcher? This was all over social media recently.
Yeah, the Dodgers, Kike Hernandez, because he wore like
Yeah, yeah,
the coaching of first base, like the protective helmet, like foam thing on the front.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that was a little bit of a viral thing. He plays like infield and outfield, but yeah, he pitched and he always messes around.
All right, so let's jump into today's topics. We got two topics at least to start with. I want to discuss because I want to get your take on Joseph Lowe from PT Supply. He put out an AI analysis of ATI's financial status. Basically, we'll look at it, but he's saying, when is ATI going to go bankrupt? And then Lauren Meffin is a SLP down in Florida, Gainesville. She put out a long form sales copy post that I thought awesome, great. I love seeing therapists doing this, but I want to get some perspective on, because I know you have a long history in copywriting. I'm curious to see if you see the same things that I see that would be recommendations to improve it. So I'm going to share Joseph's post from LinkedIn. Now, Joseph has been on the podcast. He knows us. We know him. Let me pull this out and bring it on. Okay. Forgive my messages along the side, but so let's see. Joseph basically says, I uploaded the ATI 10K into ChatGPT and asked it to what it thought of them going bankrupt. So let's hit a couple. So
Wow.
financial red flags from 2024. Said still deeply unprofitable, net losses 54 million, slightly improved from 66 million net losses in 2023. I'm going to hit a couple of the top ones and then I'll come back to you, Dave, for some feedback. Negative operating cash flow. 2024 operating cash flow was negative $19 million. This is the second consecutive year of negative cash flow. I will say we've gone through negative cash flow multiple years in a row, but we are not ATI. Limited liquidity, cash on hand, 39 million, not enough to sustain them long if losses persist. Current liabilities are 141 million. High and rising debt, so they're borrowing more money. Long-term and L2, I don't know what L2 debt is, 550 million. Any feedback so far before I keep going?
Yeah, those are all pretty big factors in terms of just their size and the amount of risk that they're carrying, like the amount of financial risk. So yeah, I mean, if you have a negative operational cash flow loss, I mean, they're covering up the current debt payments with the cash that's coming in from all their current patients and all those, insurance claims and everything. But um, certainly sounds like skating on thin ice.
So, okay, heavily diluted capital structure, raised 25 million in a Series A, declining SG&A, dropped to 909 or 99 million. What's SG&A?
The administrative expenses, so the formal is selling, comma, general, comma, and administrative expenses. So just admin costs.
Oh, okay. Positive or neutral indicators. Revenue growth, net revenue growth grew from 699 million to 753 million, so up 7%. Cost control, SG&A and impairment costs are down. Cash flow financing from 2024 up 35 million. They're still raising money. So let me ask you, as an investor, go ahead.
I was just going to say that the SG&A, it includes things like rent, utilities, the salaries of the employees, like the admin employees that are not producing the revenue. So it is kind of a big part of any practice or company. So it's anyone in the billing staff. It's obviously the rent and the utilities. So the overhead, it's the rent of all these locations, and they probably lease most of them out. I don't think they, they're in a practice business. They're not. I doubt they own much of the real estate of these practices. So that's the SG&A component.
Maybe Jerry Durham's listening and he heard you say employees that are not generating revenue. His ears are
Well,
burning.
yeah, well, technically they're not. I mean, they do, but they do indirectly. They're not doing a treating a patient, filing a claim, get paid for that time, that service.
I get
Hey,
it. I get it.
I know you do.
Okay, burn rate, net cash used in operations, and investing roughly 33 million in 2024 at that pace. 39 million in cash lasts just over 12 months. So, they don't have the sustainability in the deposits. When might bankruptcy happen? It's hard to say. They run out of cash in Q1, Q2, 2026. So, I mean, the big thing is, how are they still raising money? And I'm asking you, I generally don't know. How are they still raising money when they're in such a kind of dire predicament?
I don't know, other than uh, bankers who will somehow try to push this through their underwriting committee and their risk tolerance, and the bankers who maybe care more about this is real stuff, by the way, what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Bankers who get bonused every December, they get bonus based off of how much money they get out the door, how much money they lend. And so if a banker or bankers are more focused on their own personal bonuses, maybe they're about to jump jobs or whatever. This is one potential way on how this happens. Bankers who care more about their bonus and lending out this money to a fairly risky company, although the company ATI will say, well, we have all these locations, all these therapists, whatever. Like, yeah, we have some volatility, but we're huge, so you can't kill us, or it's going to be hard to kill us. So these bankers are like, all right, we'll lend out the money, we'll put you through the credit committee, whatever. And then the bankers get bonused because they can somewhat influence some of this lending to occur, or whatever investors. And that's one potential way. Of course, there's other folks that are watching, that might have other ideas. And I'm sure the thing is that there's going to be many different ways on how this could occur. The risk tolerance and the credit committees are going to look at, all right, what's your cash and what's your cash coming in, and can you pay these minimal debt service payments moving forward? Like, if they get more debt, they already have debt. If they get more debt, like, hey, with your current cash flow the way it is, if it stays the same, can you cover those debt service payments of new debt that you are asking for? You're asking for more money and more debt. And if their cash flow can cover that debt service, that's how more debt could be approved.
Right. So if we put Dave Kittle, I'm on the website right now. We take Sharon Vidi out of CEO position. We put
Are you
Dave
are you
Kittle.
are you sharing the screen?
No,
Or
I'm not sharing it.
okay, okay.
This is just I'm talking. I put Dave Kittle in its place. A little bit of context, a little bit of history. It says ATI was created in 1996, so we're looking at 30 years, almost 30 years. They've got 878 locations from when they publish some information on their website. So Dave comes in as the new interim CEO. What are some of the first things that you see on the horizon? And this is just for fun, but what are we looking at?
Jeez. Okay, so I mean, globally at this size of a company, you need you need you need more money coming in and less money that you're spending, right? Now your rents, you already signed those rents, those leases, right? So you sign that, so that is what it is. You're not really going to, although you could negotiate lease by lease and say, hey, can we get some, rent reduction, whatever, because otherwise you might have to have a really tough conversation with all of your landlords and with your teams. So if I were the CEO, I would probably have a tough conversation with all the stakeholders, everyone that's part of the business. I'd go to the landlords. I would say, hey, we might be out of business and you might not be able to collect the next 5 to 10 years of rent, however, or 3 years or whatever the years are remaining on the rent. If we totally go out of business or if we go into bankruptcy, you're not going to have anything, you're not going to have anything. So maybe can we reestablish or tear up this lease and make a new lease? You own real estate, I don't, Tony. So you have more insight on that. I would go to the landlords. I would try to do that as much as possible. Get some rent reduction. I would get maybe can we just skip some payments? I don't know. Like, can we? Because if I push payments out in the future, like if we still have to pay them anyway, like eventually that bill's come and due, right? So hey, can we get? I don't. It's probably not going to happen, but hey, can we get 12 months? Can we get 12 months where you just allow get just within writing? Can we just not pay rent for the next 12 months? I think these are the dire things that actually need to happen. Then you got to go to all your therapists and you say, hey, we're in a really tough situation. It's not your fault. It's our fault. We put ourselves into this. The corporate team, the C-suite, whatever. We put ourselves into this. Uh, but here's what needs to happen. We need to go to a 50% salary, 50% productivity. So whatever your salary is now, let's just say for easy numbers, if you're at 80K, your salary, your next paycheck is going to be, half of it is going to be guaranteed on your pay stub, and then the other half is going to be based off of legal and compliant billing and coding of your visits, plus the cash-based services, which hopefully they have some of the things, the compression boots, the remote therapeutic monitoring, or remote workout programming that is totally self-pay, or any other self-pay things like soft tissue work, massage, cupping, whatever. So you got to go to your therapist and try to get buy-in, which is going to be basically impossible because I don't how many therapists do they have? Tens of thousands of therapists.
I don't know. I mean, if they have 800 and something locations, you have to assume,
They
they've got, yeah, multiple
they have thou
thousand
they have
therapists.
yeah, they have thousands of therapists. So you're gonna lose some therapists because some of them are, probably, I don't know, maybe a third. I don't know, like maybe 25 to 30% are going to take the resume and they're going to go look for home health jobs, sniff jobs, whatever. So then you maybe save some money there, unfortunately, and then the rest of the therapists have to agree to some 50-50 compensation. Or if you want to get you want to get super aggressive and really, like, if you are about to take on water like the Titanic tomorrow, you could just say, hey, no more salaries. You are strictly on a paid per unit basis, just like Fox Rehab. We're going to pay you per unit, whatever the dollar amount is. Last I heard, Fox Rehab was around 16, 17, $18 a unit. I think that's what I've heard. So that's another way to decrease the fixed cost of salaries, only pay people based off of their production, and maybe, I doubt it, but maybe you could save this Titanic from sinking.
All right, just in, special guest. Look at this guy,
Hey,
Jeremy
Hey,
Sutton. Jeremy, how's it
hey guys, how
going?
are y'all? It's going great. How are y'all?
Outstanding. So before I want to finish that conversation about ATI when Jeremy is finished, because
sure,
I
sure.
want to come back to that and share some alternative suggestions. Jeremy is here because before we started the show today, Dave and I were talking about marketing strategies. And one of the things that Jeremy is doing is he's doing these interviews. Just, people are asking what's working for mobile therapy right now. Now you're doing kind of a hybrid model, Jeremy. You've got mobile, but you also are working with a concierge physician. Talk to us about anything that you see right now today that's working for you in building your brand, building your business, and getting new patient referrals.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tony. Like you cut out, my earbuds weren't working, but I
Y-
think you said talk to us about how you're getting these referrals, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So So I've done podcasts. I think I've interviewed over 300 or 400 people at this point in the last 8 years. But so that's really my bread and butter as far as meeting people. And, you had talked about multiple times going and talking to doctors. And so really my MO was just, hey, I'm going to interview you for 45 minutes and we're going to talk about whatever. But I know with these orthopedic surgeons, they may not have 45 minutes. So
Yeah.
I started reaching out to the ones I kind of knew and said, hey, do you have 15 minutes to answer 4 or 5 questions? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. And so that's what I've done. And gone to them, and I've done it with 3 or 4 orthopedic surgeons, and I think I've done 4 concierge doctors. But the third concierge doctor I did was Dr. Natalia Laura Geese, and her sister, Dr. Victoria. And we just hit it off. I took my wife with me. It was on a Saturday. It was weird. I think I've told you this, Tony. Like, I'm like, you're not going with me to meet another professional. What's going on? And she's like, we don't have kids. So anyway, we went. They loved Monica, thank God, which everybody does. And yeah, we just hit it off there. Like, I told them I did Tai Chi, and which was the truth, but not really, because I hadn't done it in a long time. And so I ended up leading Tai Chi for 5 minutes at a yoga seminar they were doing, and then they asked me to come on, and then it turned into, will you see some patients with us? Will you come in our office? Will you be here 2 or 3 days a week? So it really just from that one interview, man, they have given me so many patients in the last year. And I just looked yesterday, and I have 17 leads that I've gotten since April the 1st, and I've closed 13 of them. So it's like amazing. It's just been huge. I mean, I was going from, I was seeing 6 to 8 people a week, or 6 to 8 visits a week. And then last week I had 18, or 2 weeks ago I had 18. Last week I had 21. This week I have 23. So it's just been amazing.
Wow. So
And
let's go.
shout out to Tony, because this is Tony Maritato's. He's been doing this for 3, 4, 5 something years. This is his idea. And I just want to give him a shout out because he's so humble. But this is Tony, you did this with orthopedic surgeons in Ohio. And Jeremy, the reason why you're on today is not only just because you're a friend of the show and one of our colleagues, one of our tight colleagues, but also because you take these ideas and then you actually implement them.
Yeah.
And you actually go out and do it. And not everything works, but this is obviously working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeremy is the best example of somebody who executes, and he's not afraid to try stuff, and he just goes out and does it. Dave, this goes back to PT Tech Talk. Rob Vining and Dave Kittle, the originals, the OGs. We talked about doing physician interviews back in like 2007 or something. It's crazy. But Jeremy, back to you. So give us the actual, like, you kind of glossed over, you reached out to physicians, orthopedic. How did you reach out? Did you call?
Oh, yeah.
Did you send a letter? Like, what exactly did you do?
Yeah. So most of them I sent a Facebook message to.
Directly.
Which is, directly to them.
Away from the gatekeepers.
Yeah, I just bypass the gatekeeper. You can't, the gatekeepers and I don't coincide very, I don't know. So the Dr. Natalia, I had no connection with him whatsoever. So I just, did a Google search, concierge, because it's either concierge or direct primary care here. And there used to be just 2, now there's 30, which is great for me.
And so look, you're in Louisiana.
We're in Louisiana.
Right?
There's 250,000 people around this area here, but small.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So there's literally, from where I'm sitting at a park, half mile from my kid's school. My concierge doctor is like 100 yards this way, and there's 2 more in the same complex that he's in, and it's insane. But so yeah, with her, I just reached out, sent their business page a Facebook message, and I learned this from Will Boyd, who's the master at everything. And it was so basically, I always give them an out. I say, hey, my name's Jeremy Sutton. I have this local podcast where I interview the best doctors, business owners here in town. I would love to highlight you on my podcast. We're going to take 5 to 30 minutes, however I say it. And then I'm just going to ask you questions. I am perfectly fine sending you the questions before time, so you know what I'm going to ask you, so there's no surprises. It's not live. I will edit it if you have any issues. And by the way, I know you're super busy trying to change the world or trying to do total hips or whatever it is they're doing. So if you don't have time, no problem. God bless you. Have a great day. And that's basically the message I send every single person. And because they have an out, you're not trying to be overbearing. And actually, this is the first year that I've had people say no. Like in the past, I don't think I asked anybody that said no. Well, maybe one or two, but it's been more people either just ignore me or say no. But who cares? I mean, I've got 40 something episodes. It's working. I sent Dave the screenshot yesterday. Somebody found one of the concierge doctors here locally through a short I posted on YouTube. And so Dave said, I hope you screenshotted that. I sent it to him and his wife, Dave. And because I knew he wouldn't respond, and she was like, "Dude, you're awesome. We love you." So yeah, that's what I've been doing, and it's been working.
And so what is the distribution like for you? You do this. Well, let's do the mechanics of it. Are you doing it in person? Because I can't believe you do that. I don't have the confidence to do that. But for the listeners, are you doing it in person? Are you doing through Zoom? Is it audio only, video? What is it?
Oh, it's whatever. Most of them have been in person. Like, however I can get a conversation with these guys. Most of them have been in person, and so I have a little microphone that I hate. I ordered a new one because this one's horrible. But I go the first orthopedic surgeon. I sat on a stool and he sat on a chair in one of his exam rooms. I take my tripod that's in the back of the truck right now with my iPhone. I record it on the iPhone, and then I record the sound on my laptop because I lost a podcast episode one time, and I still think it's the greatest episode I ever recorded. But I never got that guy back. So I do offer an in person, and then also if they can't make that happen, we'll do Zoom. So whatever is best for them, because like I'm on their time, right? I'm trying. I am trying to get something from them, but I am serving them as well by talking about them and posting it to everywhere. But yeah, I mean, just whatever they need me to do, I'm perfectly okay doing it. I've had two people offer me podcast studios here in town, and I haven't taken them up on it because I have trouble with like committing to the same thing every day, which is why I want to have my own business. I want to be able to do what I want when I want it, and so
Yeah.
I have gotten rid of all the things where I have to be here Monday at 12, and so the podcast studio is kind of the same thing, and it's honestly, I've been so busy the last few weeks, I haven't been able to do an episode. And so I gotta get somebody. I have one, but the doctor won't let me release it for a couple more weeks because he's got something going on.
Oh, very
But it's
nice.
cool. It's cool.
And so the people that are watching that are like, yeah, but I don't have any subscribers. I don't have any watchers or listeners. Where did you start? What are you doing right now in terms of like, what's your audience?
Oh my gosh. So another marketing type business person I met here in town asked me what was my goal for my podcast. And I was like, meet doctors.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, who cares? And so she's like trying to get me to do all this other stuff to grow the audience. So I would say that, I had the Servant PT podcast. I had two other podcasts. This is the lowest downloaded podcast I've ever had, which bothers me to a certain extent, but also not really. But I started a YouTube channel over probably like in February of last year. I think I had 40 subscribers until we did the March Madness. I've gained 50 subscribers in the last month, so I'm starting to get some momentum there. I think I'm up to 133. I'm starting to grow TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all this stuff. And so I'm just shoving stuff out, 2 to 3 videos a day, very short, 30 seconds to 4 minutes. And I just know it's going to get momentum eventually. And yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to really talk to local people. Yeah.
Jimmy McKay jumping in from possibly 30,000 feet saying it's the ultimate olive branch. He also said size doesn't matter. That's what she said.
That's exactly right.
Jeremy, are you posting these on YouTube under Healthy SBC? It looks like.
Yes,
These
and
videos?
I haven't posted a podcast video in a few weeks. I've still been posting them on iTunes, but to be honest, my MacBook is 1,000 years old and it takes forever to upload it at my house. But I need to get the rest of those. But yeah, it's all on Healthy SBC. That's where it's going.
Any of these physicians who didn't reply the first time, have you sent a second or third outreach, either different ways? Like, so if you went through Facebook Messenger, have you tried different approaches, LinkedIn, I don't know, through their gatekeepers? Have you tried other approaches to try to send them a second or third reach out? And if so, do you say the same thing or do you say something different?
Sometimes I say, No, I usually say something different. So I'll
Good,
say,
good.
hey, I know you're busy. Like if I see that they've seen it, like I had one physician, a concierge physician, say, yeah, I'd love to be on your podcast, and then kind of ghosted me. And so I've reached back out and he's just ignored it every time. And so I've got a different approach. I'm probably going to send him a bobblehead of himself and say, hey, I'd love to talk to you about how I can help your patients or what. I don't know what I'm going to do. That's my idea. And I had the bobblehead ordered and I didn't order it one day. I don't know. But anyway, to answer your question, so the two of the most recent orthopedic surgeons are in the same group. And so basically I got the other one's information from one. And so sometimes I'll say, hey, do you recommend anybody else for me to
Yeah,
interview?
there you
I don't
go.
always do that, but yeah, I'll
A
reach out.
three-way text message. Hey, Dr.
Yes.
A, you were on
Yeah.
my show. You said you loved it and blah blah blah. And then you know Dr. B, you said that he would be good on video. Can you send us a three-way text message or three-way email
Yeah.
to loop in Dr. B? Now it's coming from Dr. A. It's not even coming from you.
Yeah. The second one in the group, so I knew the first one that I interviewed. So he grew up with a good friend of mine, really close to where I am. And so that was kind of my end with him. But I have seen all of their patients, because I've been here for 16 years. So I've seen all their patients. But these doctors that I started interviewing have only been practicing for 5 years or less, which is good because now all the doctors that I've been seeing patients for years are starting to get ready to retire. So I want to build relationships with the new guys. And so that's
Oh
really
yeah.
who I'm targeting. And the second one said, man, I'd love for you to just interview the whole staff at once. And I was like, yes, when can we set that up? Like tomorrow? Because we can do it now. So yeah.
Hey, so real quick, I just went on Amazon. You can buy a custom bobblehead that matches the person. It's $79. Dave and I have
Not
talked about
not
bulky
bad.
mail
Not
and
bad. Not bad.
that. I mean, $70 to get something like that. That's
Yeah.
incredible. I
Yeah.
love that idea. Before we let you go, real quick. So I've seen you posting, and I know you told me off air some shockwave stuff that you're doing. Tell us a little bit about how that's going, what you're doing with that.
Yeah, so we just started that this week. I just posted the gracious host y'all had shared his Facebook ads with me. So I'm gonna
Will
start running
Boyd.
Will Boyd, the man, my brother, who I text all the time and tell him how much I love him and how awesome he is. But he shared the Facebook ads he's running out in Phoenix, and so I'm gonna start. I've run Facebook ads before here. We didn't get a good response out of them. That was actually took me to a house and I texted a picture of my wife. I was like, hey, I'm going in this house. This is where I am. But we're going to start doing that pretty heavily next week. I'm going to run the ads or the doctor. So I'm partnering with another concierge doctor here in town who originally bought it to treat ED. And he's just not having very, very good response to marketing that. And he's like, it's been sitting in my office for 6 months. Nobody's touched it.
Wow.
So I went Wednesday. I had somebody who's a client of mine say he was coming, but he was stuck at work, and so I ended up treating their front office staff who was having some knee issues. And I did 1,200 shocks to her, to the medial, one to the posterior knee, and she was like, "Yeah, I feel better," and because that was the only time I've ever used one. And so I said, "Hey, come in here, let's just see how this works." But
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I think that's going to turn into something big because the people that I see at the other concierge at Dr. Natalia's office, they're doing all the med spa things there, and it's a thing that's tangible that I can show people and say, "Hey, this is really cool." It click, 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 and you're feeling it. And so I think it's going to be awesome. And I'm honestly probably that's the only marketing I'm going to do as far as running ads just to that
Yeah.
for a couple of months and see how it goes. But I think that could be something where I partner with him for maybe 4 to 6 months and then end up getting a machine myself, because we're doing a 50-50 split, and I'm super excited that he's letting me use his machine. But at the end of the day, if we're marketing it and it's working, then I'm like, well, why would I take 50? And he knows that too, so it's not a big
Yeah.
deal. But yeah, I'm excited about it.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, I know you're busy. I know you're in the car. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for joining us.
Thank y'all. Finally made it on a morning show. I'm big now.
That's right.
See you guys later.
Dr.
Thanks.
Jeremy Sutton. Dr. Jeremy Sutton, thank you so much.
All right. What a great human that guy is.
Love the accent.
Absolutely. Going back to ATI real quick. I think the biggest thing, and you hit it in a couple of what you said, was, hey, we need cash right now. You know, we need cash today. I can go out and borrow cash, but it's going to cost me a crap ton of percentage because we look so bad on the balance sheet. What can I do with 800 plus locations today that gets me payment up front? I took a concept from Seth Godin. He had shared this years ago. He said, you know, basically we're not in healthcare. We are in finance. We are financing. We're taking patients. We're, you know, delivering a service to the patient. We are covering the cost of that service in a third party payer model, not your model. We're financing the patient's recovery. We're paying the therapist, and then we're waiting another 15 to 30 days before the insurance company pays us. So we are ultimately a finance company. That's a failing model when you're running out of cash. I can't be a bank if I don't have money to lend. So how do I switch that to, okay, now I need money now. This is where you get into, I'm selling packages, I'm selling services, I'm creating a digital footprint, which they're doing some of that stuff. I love the idea of looking at what Weight Watchers did. You know, Weight Watchers was a failing business model. Their stock price went from $100 a share down to $1 a share. They made a pivot to say, hey, we can't sustain. Let's go out. Let's get a bunch of physicians in. Let's go GLP-1 or whatever, GLP blockers, and let's go where the money is. And now they have people that are coming in that are driving, you know, payments first in hundreds of dollars instead of the $10 or $15 a month memberships that they used to sell.
Their stock is at 77 cents a share right
Yeah.
now. Holy moly. So even that might not have helped. I don't know.
Well, too little, too late, you know? So like you're late to the party, but there are, again, going back to other models that I think the physical therapy business can look at and kind of take lessons from. But yeah, I think the key to ATI's turnaround, if it ever happens, and maybe it's a cultural thing that's not going to happen, but it's, hey, we need to stop financing everybody else's service and we need to get payments up front. How do we do that? How do we bring money in the door today and then give the services down the road? And that's a big thing with like Alex Hermosi and a lot of, you know, the guys on social media and what they're preaching. They're like, look, you need high profit to sustain. You need profit now to make this work. So that would be probably where I go. And I would just look at, we've got thousands, tens of thousands of visits going on weekly. What do these people need right now? They need supplements. They need, you know, shockwave. They need pain relief. They need things that they are willing to pay for beyond just what insurance is going to reimburse for. That's where I would put all of my efforts into. But it's a big cultural shift. I don't think therapists want to do it. I think you get a lot of resistance. Therapists aren't going to be the salespeople. So this is where you bring in a sales force that is dedicated to selling the things that patients want, because the therapists are not going to be the ones to do it.
And if you brought a sales force in, you got to pay them, although they would probably be fine with 100% commission, but then you're still paying them whatever the commission is. Then you got to pay the therapist to actually do the service, fulfill the service, and so the admin staff that are indirectly but not producing revenue. ATI, as of right now, today, May 1st, 2025, ATI stock price at 84 cents a share. Over the past 5 years, it's down 99.83%. Holy moly. Oof.
I mean, we've seen how many countless businesses have we seen go that way? You know, they shrink until they eventually disappear. All right. Anything else about that before we go off onto a different post that Lauren Meffin had shared?
Yeah, let's jump to that.
Shoot, I just had it up here. Let me grab it real quick. So I have been sharing, just for context before I share my screen, I've been sharing a bunch of long form sales copy. I'm going this direction a little more heavily. Jeremy Sutton's doing some of this as well. So the idea is building a narrative, building a story. Okay, I'm going to share this. you guys already saw this screenshot. I think last time we were on. Let me get it over here. This is just, talking about spouses that fall, non-emergency fall recovery, things like that. I had said, publicly, my goal is not to sell that, but if somebody is going to buy it, I will deliver it. But my goal is just to get it out there. I looked at the numbers yesterday, and that post, just a static photo, generated image by AI and long form, over 6,000 views, all organic, nothing paid yet. Lauren shared a post that she had created. So Lauren is an amazing SLP. She's down in Gainesville. I won't read the whole thing, but let me hit a little bit of it. So it says, quote, "Are you or a loved one experiencing choking, coughing, difficulty swallowing at home?" First, right off the bat, what do you think of that opening line, Dave?
Yeah, it's not the best. It's more of a descriptor instead of a question. I mean, does it end in a question mark?
It does. A question mark. So it says, "Are you or a loved one experiencing choking, coughing, or difficulty swallowing at home?"
I mean, well, one thing is like you're asking like, are the parents experiencing the swallowing issues, or is it you're asking the 40-50-year-old that their mother or father has the coughing issue, or is this a pediatric thing? Is this for your children? So it's like it's asking multiple. It's asking the reader like multiple different people in their family. Like instead of just like, does your son or daughter cough? Does your son or daughter have coughing or swallowing issues? Like
Yeah.
like this post, like, is it for the pediatric child or is it for the parents of the decision maker who's 40, 50, 60 years old? So right there, like it's asking for you to consider multiple people in your family. So that's a little unclear.
Yeah, I agree. I would say it's not specific enough. I would look at it more direct to, have you noticed your mom or dad choking when they sip, morning coffee? Have you noticed, what does it say, coughing, difficulties? Have you noticed your mom gagging when she takes a bite of a sandwich? Or your mom who had a stroke, is she now coughing more, choking more when she's trying to drink? I don't want to say thin liquids, but that's what's coming to my mind, because thin liquids is professional jargon. It's something that they would actually be drinking. So I'd
Yeah,
make
any
it
water, tea, their
yeah,
water,
yeah.
their
I'd
tea,
make
their
it
coffee.
person specific, as much more granular. So it says, quote, "Are you or a loved one experiencing choking, coughing, difficulty swallowing at home? Our comprehensive in-home swallowing evaluation brings expert care directly to you. No travel, no wait time, no waiting rooms, just personalized support in your own environment." I just think it's too vague still. It's too general. It's clearly an ad. It's clearly like, give me the story. And this is what I try to do when I'm coaxing ChatGPT to generate the sales copy. I give it specific things. So I never had a family member who had a stroke, but I did have a family member, my mom, who had fallen, who had a brain bleed, who, had repeated falls. And I know what I was thinking when I was going through that. I know that my mom would never do fall prevention, even if she had just fallen. She had just tripped over something. She would say, "Oh, it's no big deal. It was just an accident." Like, these are the things that I would want to bring into the narrative. So for somebody, I think you're talking, and I'm completely ignorant to this, so forgive me. Okay, so what is important here? Well, it's going to be a mom. It's going to be a mom who had a stroke. It's going to be a mom who's choking when she drinks her morning coffee with toast. Why would she want to do this? Because she's embarrassed. She stopped going out with her gal pals. She's not doing the things that she used to do. And she also, has never seen anybody. She's never talked to anybody about something like this. These are the things that I would bring in. What are you thinking in relation to this?
I agree. I do love the bringing in a story. I think that might be the biggest component, where you're saying, either, Mary, we had a client, we had a family member, I know what this is like. We had, someone in our family or whatever, like you said. Now, if you don't, then maybe you say, okay, we had a past patient or something that agreed to do this or whatever. But bringing in a story, like we recently had a client and they were coughing on their tea, and they try to make the tea warmer, they try to make the tea cooler, they try to thicken it with extra honey. No matter what they did, their mother, father, or themselves continued to cough every time they had their favorite drink. And they got upset, and they thought that they could no longer enjoy life if they couldn't have their morning tea or coffee or whatever it is. And they tried this, they tried this, they tried calling their physician, their primary care, they this, that, and nothing seemed to work. They tried whatever, allergy medication, whatever the other alternatives are, I don't know. They tried this, and they seemed like they thought that they were, there was nothing to do, there was nothing, they tried everything, and that there was no hope until they took me up on this offer or whatever of the the sleep or the swelling study. And what we found was this simple little thing, whatever. And it's maybe it's not simple, maybe it's complex. We found this issue to be the biggest culprit, or we have this treatment or this offering or solution that is often overlooked and historically proven with research, but not utilized enough because it's overlooked. And it was just this one little thing, and it's not your fault. You didn't know, but here's the solution that helped Mary. And you continue on with the story, or end the story from there. But I think the story is a huge part of engaging.
Yeah, I as we were talking through this, I was just thinking, I can remember a older individual in my family. I'm going to say an aunt or an uncle, like talking or coughing and food coming out of their mouth, and them being so embarrassed at Thanksgiving dinner, And so now that they're doing that, they're pulling away, they're retracting, they're whatever to themselves, and they're missing out on these family engagements. Like, I think that's something that most of us can relate to. I also remember, and these are real stories. I remember a woman, she was not a family member. I think she was a physical therapy patient, drinking, coughing, her dentures were coming out, And so like all of these incredibly embarrassing stories, but real stories that actually happen. Those are the things that I think would resonate a little bit more strongly. And they're so specific, but they're very common. So then the post goes into, okay, what's included? I think there are elements here that we're missing, like what the urgency, all the other aspects that are going to make me like, they've clearly been dealing with this for a while. Well, why are they going to go get it addressed now? But then when we get into what's included, I just think it's too much professional jargon. Comprehensive swallow evaluation at home, licensed speech therapist. I don't think anyone cares. Mobile swallow study. Like, she has some equipment and here, optional mobile instrument imaging. I want to see that stuff. Like, this is the cool stuff. This is the stuff that nobody else does. This is the innovation and the technology. I would emphasize the visual aspect of this more. Optional video and imaging. I wouldn't make it optional. I would just say, look, this is what we do. $1,000, $1,500, whatever the cost of it is, but we will bring this out to your house. This is, again, what impresses the person. This is what makes them realize, why didn't I get this before? Oh, maybe my doctor or whoever didn't have this equipment, but you do. Customized swallow exercise program, diet recommendations, recommended products. It's fine. I just don't know that adds much value. Maybe because we don't have the emotional trigger yet to say it. Total investment. She didn't use the word price or cost. She said investment.
I love that.
Yep. Includes 120-minute in-home session. I would immediately get rid of the time. Do not stick me with a time. If I can deliver $750 of value in 10 minutes, let me get out in 10 minutes. I was sitting there yesterday thinking about this again. I'm doing I had 2 evaluations yesterday morning. I'm like, what in the world are therapists doing that take more than 20 minutes? I am struggling to find things to do to spend more time with this person. And you know, whatever. Okay, includes 120-minute session, written summary, individualized care plan. I would turn this into no time frame. And I would say this includes the confidence and the security of knowing that the next time you're sitting around the family table, grandma or grandpa is not going to choke and spit food across the table. You know, it's going to bring the joy of family back together. Like, that's what I want this to deliver. Not a written summary, not an individualized care plan, not any of that stuff. I want confidence and security and family connection. Those are the things that I want it to deliver. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I knew you were going to say take the time out of there. uh, the only time people ask me about our home visit duration, it's typically when it's the 40, 50, 60-year-old son or daughter who's arranging it for their mother or father, but they're like already converted verbally on the phone, and they're thinking about like you know, week over week in the future, like how often are we basically going to be there? And for them, the time, they perceive it to be important because they're asking like how much for what we're paying, I guess, like how much are you actually going to be there to help them, to take them through movements or exercise or, you know, whatever, transfers or whatever. But I agree with you 100% on that. Take the time out of that because people just want the solution. They want themselves or their mother, father to not cough and choke when they're having their favorite drink or their, you know, their breakfast or whatever. So just stay focused on what they care about. And if it takes 20 minutes, great. If it takes an hour and 20 minutes, okay.
Yeah. Uh, any other thoughts just in regards to like what Jeremy shared with us and what he's doing, what Lauren is doing here, what you see on social media generally?
Well, back to what Jeremy is doing with reaching out to physicians to get them what is it, a 15-minute interview on his show.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that he's sending second or third like follow-up messages to folks that are not answering. But like we kind of covered, like asking those other physicians for an introduction is like the easiest thing ever. Like that's the easiest way to break through. And sometimes we get caught, like even myself, like I think I could get caught up with like sending a second or third message to the person that's not answering, and you still should do that. And that is part of rejection. That is part of just like, you know, marketing and just like repetitions. And you should be asking those folks a different approach, but asking them again, even if they don't answer, and that's okay. Like he gave them an out. He said, hey, if you're busy, don't even worry about it. It's all good, whatever. um but approaching it like dynamically, like hitting them up on LinkedIn, because if they have their own LinkedIn he said he does Facebook messaging, so that's a little more personal, I think. So the ones that are not answering, look them up on LinkedIn, send them an email, or, you know, connect with them on LinkedIn and then send them a DM there. um and I would, so Jeremy shared with me that screenshot of a patient in the wild that commented on his YouTube video and said, "Oh, this doctor we heard about, and we just scheduled a visit with him, Doctor So and So. Thank you so much." And he sent me the screenshot, and then I said, "Dude, I hope you sent that screenshot to that physician." He's like, "Absolutely, already did." Awesome. Take that screenshot, and for the next physician that has not answered your previous outbound messages, you take that screenshot and you say, "Hey, Doctor Tony, are you accepting more new patients? Here's an example. I interviewed Dr. Johnson, and this person saw the video and is like basically going to see him partly because of my video, because of our
Right.
interview." So the question, you reach out to them, hey, are you accepting more new patients? If they're super busy, they're not going to care. But if they're concierge direct primary care, they are always going to be accepting more new patients or clients, or now they're calling them members. So you got to speak their language. Do they care about getting more new members in their practice? Lead with that. Hey, this is a digital evergreen asset that if we knock it out for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we knock out this interview, it's going to live on the internet forever to help drive traffic to your practice. We'll put the link of your website in the description of all the videos. And this will be working for you and your team, even when you guys are sleeping, when you're on vacation, whatever. This interview will be viewed thousands or whatever, hundreds of times or whatever, by local folks that are looking for a concierge direct primary solution. Like, you got to like position it to what they care about. And if they're accepting and they're looking for more new members for their concierge practice, lead with that. And then it's like, oh, you're not pitching your interview, you're pitching like free evergreen marketing deliverable for this physician. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I love what you said about understanding what the motivation is on the physician side. I think too many of us, too many therapists, because we're looking for patients, think, oh, the doc wants patients. There isn't a single person in my community with MD after their name who needs more new patients. Not a single one. So when I approach them, if I approach them, I'm not saying get more new patients. What I'm saying is, hey, we'll get you more of the patients you want. We'll get you more of the commercial, not Medicare, not Medicaid. I will bring you patients that are your highest reimbursing, lowest administrative burden, highest potential for a positive outcome. I'm not going to bring you somebody like an orthopedic surgeon. I'm not going to bring you somebody who's, you know, got a list of comorbidities and complexity. I'm going to give you the healthy, active, you're going to have the best outcome, and it's going to show. That's who I'm going to bring to your office. And they're going to be private insurance. You're going to get paid the most possible money for the time you're investing. And that came from talking to surgeons, talking to physicians, them telling me I am so sick of primary care docs or other referral sources for them, sending them all the Medicaid referrals, you know? And so I quickly understood, oh, these guys don't need more. They need more of the right kind. And so what I do when I was reaching out and saying, hey, let's do a 10-minute interview, I specifically tell them, let me know who you want. What is the best, you know, payer for you right now? Let me know what specific procedure you're doing that you want me to ask you about, that you want me to promote. If you're doing stem cell, if you're doing PRP, if you're doing high value cash-based services, we'll talk about it all day long, you know, because that's what they need. Every new referral isn't worth the same to them. And I need to understand where the value is for them. And once they realize that I know that, now I'm their advocate. Now I'm helping them. Now the reciprocity kicks in, and now they want to start sending me people too, you know, and that's really where the value comes in here. Even if you have no audience, when I first started doing this, I'd get 20 views, but it didn't matter because it's the reciprocity of them knowing, hey, this guy is looking out for me. He understands what I need. He's not just looking to, you know, drain my resources on third-party payers that I can't afford to see.
Yeah. Amen.
All right, let's do parting shots. I'll go first. So I am going to investigate the bobblehead idea. I think this is awesome.
Who would you send it to? Who and why? Come on.
Okay, so I've got a handful of orthopedic docs right now. I want them sending me more total knee replacements. I don't know why every total knee replacement isn't coming to my clinic in my city. I'm going to generate bobbleheads. I'm going to create social media content first, and then I'm going to send it to the surgeon along with a link to the social media video that I created so that they could see what I'm doing.
Would it make sense for you to mention in that you have such a big total knee replacement following on YouTube, or you don't think they would care about that?
No, they would definitely care. Yeah, I would mention it. I'd have a link, you know, to it so that when they get it, they can go see it. Absolutely. I am leveraging every asset that I have.
So you would have a link how? Like with a QR code? Because you're going to send this with the bobblehead, or you would do a digital message with a bobblehead that you're physically going to send?
QR code would be great. I didn't think of that. No, I was just going to like mention the YouTube channel, mention the number of subscribers, mention a couple of the resources that I have. I don't know. QR code works well too. So maybe both of them.
I like the idea of you sending the bobblehead as the, to grab their attention, and then you mentioned like your Facebook or your Facebook group, but the YouTube following for total knee replacements, and then also including what you just mentioned a few minutes ago about sending more total knee replacement candidates to you that are, the healthiest candidates, the most motivated candidates with the least comorbidities and the and the best insurance. Although
Yeah.
it sounds, as I'm saying it, it sounds like it could be a little salesy or snake oil, but like if that's what they care about, then that's what you got to say.
ChatGPT will clean it up for me.
There you go. There you go.
What you got?
Parting shot for me is I think I might have to start a whole channel. Maybe have Nate or someone else do it to do the physician interviewing. I've already spoken to a bunch of physicians. I have a buddy that's a podiatrist nearby. He would do this in a second. He would start doing this. We could do plantar fasciitis, bunionectomy, Achilles, those types of content, and then just one by one asking for referrals from him, asking other physicians. But again, they're busy. So, but ultimately, doing this approach, I think it's time. I think it's time, and it'll certainly help with referrals. So I'm strongly considering it. Watching Tony's success with it, watching Jeremy Sutton's success with it, I think it's time for me to certainly consider it seriously.
All right, awesome. Guys, go check out the Dave Kittle Show on YouTube and iTunes and everywhere else. Go check out PT Pinecast, Learn Medicare Billing every Tuesday, Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be here. See you guys later. Thanks, Dave.